Welcome to Agents of Nothing, an episode-by-episode recap and analysis from the perspectives of a veteran and a new recruit. And now, a quick word from our sponsors. Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 13, One of Us.
Yeah. So, Mariah, how was your week-ish?
It was less of a week and more of a whole month.
Yeah.
We took the month of December off, which, it was
needed.
Nice to have that time to catch up.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of editing for the podcast, trying to get ahead. Christmas happened. We're recording this. I said on New Year's Day. I totally did not realize it was January 2nd. Yep. Woo! It's been a time. But yeah, nothing overly exciting, to be honest. How about you, Caroline?
Well, this month has been kind of a lot. Definitely needed the time off. And with the holidays, there was lots of weird new traditions that were kind of born out of necessity and mourning some old traditions that we couldn't keep this year and stuff like that. So yeah, it just was a super weird time, and let's just say I have a ton of notes for my next therapy session.
I have a session tomorrow.
Nice.
All right, so this episode was written by Monica Owusu-Breen and directed by Kevin Tancharoen.
The brother!
So, for the final 12 episodes of this season, Marvel again ran the Art of Initiative, in which an image was released the Thursday before the episode aired. And this season's title was The Art of Evolution.
Ooh.
The different artists were once again chosen to create the teaser posters based on their previous work and how it connected to the themes and emotion of the intended episode. The art for One of Us, created by Declan Shalvey and Jordi Belair, the poster features muted colors and shows Coulson surrounded by villains from the S.H.I.E.L.D. Index and the giant Cal looming over, and a bird and a shield behind him.
Bird? Because the birds died in this episode?
Maybe so.
They were like, justice for the birds. They didn't ask
Justice
for
for the birds. I hope they woke up.
Yeah, for real.
All right.
Anyway.
Who do we meet in this episode?
We meet quite a few new villains.
Yeah.
So, first off, Carla Faye Gideon. She likes to say that she has 2 perfectly good forks at the end of her arms, so she might as well add 10 perfectly good knives to that equation. You know what I mean? Wendell Levi, aka the nerd, Francis Noche, the roid head, and David Angar, who is just a terrible singer.
It's true, and I've always said that.
So, we open on Edwina Scissorhands, as I like to call her, trying to have a quiet dinner at home in front of an old movie when there's a knock at the door. It's Cal and his goons. The Goon Squad. And they know exactly who she is because she's on S.H.I.E.L.D.'s gifted index. Cal jumps right into his sales pitch, how each of his 2 pals were mistreated by S.H.I.E.L.D. in some way because of their powers, and ever since they got rid of their trackers, they've been working for Cal. He starts to offer her the same thing to rid her of the, quote, punishment that S.H.I.E.L.D. gave her, aka metal gloves that keep her from actually touching anything, in exchange for her help. And so she slams the door in his face mid-sentence. I think that was funny. She changes her mind, though, and they get to work. And I love that Cal says that they should show the world how S.H.I.E.L.D. treats people like us, when, is Cal like them at all? And also, this woman literally just has, scalpels embedded in her fingertips, so
Awful.
I wouldn't compare her to most of the people on the gifted index either, so whatever.
The nerve of Cal to describe Coulson as a door-to-door salesman of a man when that's literally what Cal is doing at the moment.
Literally.
He's like, knock, knock, would you like to join my team? Hey, boss babe. Hi, hon. It's been so long since we talked. How are you?
I have a business opportunity for you.
Would you like to join my team of supervillains?
Supervillains with no superpowers. Anyway, so Coulson and Skye are talking in her cell/room, and he apologizes for all of the monitoring, but Skye understands the necessity. She gives us a nice little recap of everything she's been through, as if we could forget Skye. But she is working hard to get her new powers under control and is confident she can get back in the field as soon as she has a handle on it. But as May and Coulson discuss behind her back, they don't have any intention of that at the moment. And since she's being added to the index, she will have to be evaluated by an outside party in order to stay free, much less on the team. So Coulson tells May to call Andrew, aka May's thing. Ooh! What kind of thing? A husband kind of thing.
Casual.
Super casual. I love that they call him her thing.
If it's gonna be a thing.
And he's her ex-husband. Anyway, so Morse is hanging out with Simmons while she's putting together Skye's index file. But they're very confused about her new DNA and how her new power works. Fitz briefly interrupts them, and Simmons stops talking for as long as he's in the room. She's very much still mad at him because of him lying to her. Morse says, "We're spies. We lie for a living. So what?" Yeah, you know what? You're right. But Morse goes on to defend Fitz a little, saying that at least his intentions were to protect a friend. But Simmons doesn't accept that. Besides, science was their sacred bond, and Fitz obscured test results, aka corrupted the science, in order to keep up his lie.
For shame.
So for Simmons, everything has changed. Oh, I did have a Taylor Swift reference in here. Everything has changed yet again, even more. She doesn't know how they're going to come back from this. And honestly, I truly can see both sides of this. This is a difficult situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Mac calls Morse from wherever he brought Hunter to keep him from talking. He doesn't know what the next move is, and Hunter is angry and loud. So Morse and Mac agree to, quote, take Hunter in. Fucking where? May surprises Dr. Andrew Garner at Culver University to ask him to evaluate Skye for the new shield.
Culver University, like in the Hulk.
Hey.
So, Dr. Andrew Garner works at the West Virginia campus of Culver University. The Virginia campus appeared in The Incredible Hulk.
It probably doesn't exist anymore because the Hulk destroyed everything.
Yeah. And if the Hulk didn't, then the army did.
Literally.
Just a casual little plug for our December episode of our bonus content.
Our bonus Jonas episode.
I'm working on Iron Man 2 right now, so subscribe.
And just as a reminder, we are covering all of the MCU movies in release order. Just as a reminder, in case y'all forgot.
Monthly episodes. Visit anchor.fm/agentsofnothing or go to our Spotify page and subscribe for $2.99 a month.
Okay, sorry, we'll get back to it now. So, Dr. Andrew Garner he's skeptical about working with S.H.I.E.L.D. again. He agrees on the condition that his loyalty is to Skye, not to S.H.I.E.L.D. May apologizes for not calling him back when the old S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed. And he says, "It's cool. I just talked to your mom to make sure you're alive. She invited me over for dinner." Gotta love Mama May.
That's so real.
For real.
Every time I talk to Aaron, he's like, your mom called me. And I'm like,
no!
What?
Miriam! I didn't know about that. That's so funny. Anyway, so May says, she never forgave me for divorcing you. And you know what? I wouldn't either, because Dr. Garner seems great so far.
May's ex-husband is a sexy therapist. What's not to love?
He really is. We love emotionally intelligent men.
We do.
So Cal and friends drive up to a gated driveway in the middle of nowhere. Carla cuts the security guard's throat.
Her, hi! And then the throat slash was so funny.
It was really good timing.
She just runs around the side of the camper and she goes, hi!
I feel like that would be you. If you were capable of killing somebody, I feel like that would be you.
Yeah, if I were a supervillain, I'd be the one that just distracts them by going, oh, hey!
How are you? Great. Bye. Anyway, so she does that, and then the nerdy guy blows up the gate controls, and then the other guy, Francis, pries open the bars on the gate with his bare hands. And over the gate is a sign stating that this is Bryn Mawr Maximum Security Psychiatric Facility. So May and Dr. Garner arrive at S.H.I.E.L.D., and Dr. Garner congratulates / offers condolences for Coulson's promotion. Honestly, he's so real for that.
So Blair Underwood, who plays Dr. Garner, and Clark Gregg have previously co-starred as love interests of Julia Louis-Dreyfus on The New Adventures of Old Christine.
Oh.
In 2006.
Wow.
Damn, they old.
Wow. I was 11, maybe.
I was maybe like 12, because I'm a little older than you. Fun fact, I'm a little older than Caroline.
Well, so you would have turned 11 in February of that year. I was turning 11 in September of that year.
Okay. So you were 10.
I was 10. It depends on when it was released.
You were 10 for most of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm older than you.
You remember when you were my age? 6 months ago.
Yeah. It was a good time. I miss it.
Anyway, okay. So Coulson and Morse talk about going to investigate the break-in at Bryn Mawr. But before they go, he asks her about why Hunter isn't there today. He asks if it was because of the permanent position that he offered him. Morse tries to brush it off as she walks out the door, saying permanent isn't really Hunter's thing. Even the word freaks him out sometimes. And Coulson just looks after her suspiciously. She's right, she really does lie for a living.
Yeah. But it's a believable lie.
It is.
That does seem to be his MO.
Yeah. Wasn't this time.
No, he was gonna
literally had him kidnapped, but whatever. Simmons seems very excited to work with Dr. Garner and to share every single detail of what she's figured out about Skye so far. Fitz tries to talk to May while they are talking, and he says, I didn't know you were married. And May just says, now you do. And he says, he seems nice. Me. That's so me.
You don't know what to say when you're introduced to someone's ex-husband. You're like, oh.
Great.
I'm sorry.
Cool. You can't ask, well, why? Seems great. Why?
What happened?
So May breaks the news to Skye that she's getting a psych eval. But Skye doesn't want to talk to a shrink at first because she says she's been through enough of them in the foster system to know that she hates shrinks. But May drops the bomb that it's her ex, and so Skye stops in her tracks. Of course.
What was with the aversion to therapy like a decade
Literally.
ago?
That was the last time I was in therapy, and once I found a good therapist, I was like, fuck yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
But literally everybody was like, I hate shrinks. No, I don't want to talk to a therapist. I want to stay mentally ill forever.
There's nothing wrong with me. Why would I talk to a therapist?
I know more than them anyway.
Honestly, thank God that therapy has become normalized.
Literally. Oh my God. Yeah. So then we cut to Skye going a mile a minute trying to ask Dr. Garner about May. He tries to gently stop her and redirect the conversation, but Skye just keeps trying to deflect. He finally asks her why she shot herself. And Skye's defensive, so he answers a few of her questions about him and May to try and meet her halfway. Skye appreciates the nibble, and goes just a little deeper with her answer on why she shot herself, focusing more on the feelings that she felt instead of the rationalization of the decision. And so now the conversation can really go somewhere. Therapy truly is a you get what you give kind of thing, y'all.
Yeah, so do your therapy homework.
Do your therapy homework.
Don't be like me.
So Morse and Coulson have arrived at Bryn Mawr, and they head down to the sub-basement to check on the 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. prisoners down there. And hang on. Fucking sub-basement? I've never even seen a real basement, and you're telling me there's a basement under the basement? There's enough like ground under there? What?
Yeah, I guess so.
That blows my mind. Anyway, so the 2 prisoners down there are John Bruno, military assassin, who Morse fights single-handedly while Coulson just stands by shining his flashlight on them. Iconic.
I mean, what was he supposed to do?
He had a gun.
Bobby had it.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so John Bruno and David A. Angar, who has already been captured by Cal and Co. David's voice can induce immediate catatonia with the slightest whisper. Cal left a note on the wall of David's room saying, "Fight on." How did he want that to be read? Is it like, "Fight on," or is it like, "Fight on," or is it like, "Fight on," or is it like, "Fight on," like hard on? I don't know. So May and Garner debrief about Sky's session, and he says that Sky thinks the world of May. Obviously, who wouldn't?
May's the best.
Yeah. Garner asks if May is seeing anyone. Well, you know, there was like a secret Nazi for a minute there, but it was just a casual thing. As they continue catching up, though, Fitz almost walks in, but stops when he hears May laughing and just turns back around on his heel, which is my favorite thing.
So funny.
And then he heads to the lab to use the microwave in there for his tea.
This episode reveals that Fitz is the owner of the Grumpy Cat mug from A Fractured House.
Oh. I knew we'd see that thing again.
So funny.
So he tells Simmons that he didn't want to disturb May and her ex. Simmons automatically wants the tea. About May and her ex, not the tea that he just made. I just realized that I did that.
No, Simmons is a real English woman. She would
like,
never want microwaved tea. She would never want microwaved tea.
You're right.
Okay, you gotta heat it on the stove.
I don't know. Why can't you just, like, heat up the water in the microwave before?
Because you gotta heat it on the stove or else it's not really boiling somehow.
What if that's too much water? You just want 1 cup.
English people, sound off in the comments.
I gotta ask my British coworkers.
Do you guys have something against microwave tea?
Anyway, so then they start gossiping just like old times without even thinking about it. And I loved it. They're like, they're an interesting pair. He listens for a living and she doesn't speak. But in the middle of their gab sesh, Sky's alarms start going off. So they cut it short and run to get May and Garner. And poor Sky, she was just trying to take a nap.
No, she was just sleeping. She was having a dream.
So Coulson and Morse discuss who they're looking for as they scour traffic cams. None of them actually have any real superpowers. They're just criminals. And speaking of, the 5 of them are having breakfast together. Except Levi, who doesn't like food, apparently. Fucking can't relate. I don't know.
What a fucked up breakfast club.
For real. As Cal is convincing the group not to let S.H.I.E.L.D. take anything else from them, he starts getting a little heated as he talks about how he feels about them taking Sky away from him. Clearly, a childhood with Cal would have been very peaceful and healthy, obviously. He goes on to explain that, like the others, he has chemically altered himself in order to get strong so that he can protect those he loves. And so far, he's had some volatility issues, of course, but he's always working on the formula, always tweaking. So back to Coulson and Morse. Coulson finally asked Morse how long she and Hunter had been sleeping together. Oh, he knew. Morse lies, saying that Hunter fell back into his alcoholic ghosting patterns, so she broke it off. And Mac is out trying to find Hunter now. And that was pissing me off. I know it's just part of the story, but I hated it.
You're like, it's just a show. It's just a show. It's just a show.
Literally. But just as the computer has a hit, Coulson has a brain blast. The van they're looking for is in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Did you catch that? He totally said it that way.
He did it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't catch it.
It wasn't that obvious, but he said, it's in Wisconsin.
Wait, don't they say it with, like, almost a G sound? As, like, Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've always heard Wisconsin.
So, anyway, Coulson is from Wisconsin for some reason. And Cal is trying to lure Coulson into his own hometown.
That's not weird.
Not at all. So Sky and Garner start to discuss what Sky was dreaming about. Garner calls Sky out for avoiding and deflecting through humor and sarcasm. And okay, he didn't have to read me like this too. God, I have my own therapist for that now.
Marissa and Jed are gonna send you a bill.
Oh, that was so funny. My headphones flew
I
off.
was going to say that. It was so funny your headphones fell off.
Anyway, but Garner is getting down to business now. He says, you have abilities now that are triggered by pain. So either you face that or you never sleep again. Wow. Sky finally admits that she was dreaming about going from a shooter to the shooter's target. But as she's talking, the plane starts shaking, but this time it's not Sky. May is just taking them for a ride to go meet up with Coulson. And to talk about her dream for a second, it is an excellent metaphor.
Yeah.
I always love how dreams in media are like, I know that this is the point, but they're so clear about like, oh, this is literally just about what has been going on in your life.
Yeah.
This is a very perfect metaphor for that.
Yeah, when I have a nightmare, it's more like you were driving and then suddenly the car stopped and then there was a clown and then the clown went away and it was a snake and then the snake turned into a balloon.
Clearly. I remember one of the worst nightmares that I ever had, and I had it a couple of times, like it was recurring for a little while. It was when I was still living at my parents' house, and I would wake up like in a cold sweat from this because it was just like my heart was racing. I was fucking terrified when I woke up. But the dream was I was in my bed sleeping, and then I woke up and I would like roll over, and from my bedroom in that house, when the door was open, I could see all the way through like the living room into the kitchen. And so in the dream, I would wake up and I would look through my door, and all the lights were off except for like the laundry room way at the end. And then I would just hear this voice go, and it would say something different every time, but it was along the lines of, there's someone in the kitchen. Something like that. But it was like, there's someone in the kitchen. One time it said there's a car in the kitchen, like weird stuff. But like as soon as that voice finished talking, saying that one sentence, I would just like jolt awake and be like in a cold sweat. That's what my nightmares are.
I had one nightmare that was like, it was when I first started taking gabapentin for my fibromyalgia, and it was like one of the side effects is very, very vivid dreams where sometimes like you don't know whether or not it's real.
Oh.
And so when I first started taking it, they put me on like way too high of a dose at first, and so the dream I had was like horror movie level gore and like guts, and I'm not a horror movie person.
Yeah.
Okay, guys? Like, I don't like horror movies. I don't like gore. And so why my brain decided to feed me this, I don't know. But it was awful. And then like Taylor Swift was in it, and she was like an evil queen.
No.
And that's all I remember. I remember that Taylor Swift was the evil queen, and it was like horror movie level blood and guts.
Was your brain reminding you that she's your problematic queen?
My brain was like, she's a white feminist and she only cares about her money.
She's killing the planet with her jet. See, guys, we can be critical of the things that we like.
Yeah, but I did see a statement that someone on her team put out that I do kind of agree with, that the whole tracking her jet thing is just another elaborate way of stalking her.
Absolutely. It's weird as hell.
Like, two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, stop fucking tracking celebrities' flights. They're strangers. You don't know them.
Right.
And also, celebrities should stop taking so many private flights.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, focus.
Anyway.
So, Cal and Co. are removing David Angar's muzzle at a high school football stadium.
I did like how sweet Carla was in that scene.
Yeah.
Two of the villains recruited by Cal originated in the Daredevil comics. David Angar, aka Angar the Screamer, first appeared in Daredevil number 100 in 1973. And Carla Faye Gideon made her debut in Daredevil Redemption #1 in 2005.
Ah.
Angar the Screamer.
Angar
That's
the
what they call me.
So Angar the Screamer goes out to the football field and screams, putting dozens of high school students to sleep immediately. And for a second, I was like, he just killed all those kids. Oh my god. But also, a shit ton of birds were affected too. I don't think they were dead. I think they were just asleep. But
Catatonic, I think, is the word that they used. But my god, this part with the voice guy is horrifying every time.
Yes. The way his, jaw...
The way his, unhinged. Ugh.
Truly, literally unhinged.
The worst. The worst. And those poor kids.
I know. What did they do? They were literally hanging out at school.
Just minding their own business.
They were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So, Mac has brought Hunter some pizza while he's still chained to a motel sink. And he tries to talk to Hunter and remind him about when they first met on a mission in Dubai. But Hunter doesn't want to hear it. But he does point out that it's interesting that Mac would bring up that memory because he was lying to Hunter then, too, because they were undercover. Garner is fucking pissed that May would head off on a mission without at least informing the other people who are aboard her vehicle. And I get that. I know it was an emergency.
Yeah, and
but...
imagine if Sky had actually freaked out.
Right.
And the plane just came apart.
Literally. So while they're fighting, Sky enters and insists that she help since they can use her to manipulate Cal. May and Garner don't think it's a good idea for Sky to be in contact with her father when she's only barely able to make it through her day without causing regional disasters. But Sky says she knows she can handle herself because she's able to talk about the situation at hand right now, and the plane isn't coming apart around them. And I mean, okay, but talking about seeing someone who causes a certain reaction and actually seeing that person are two vastly different experiences.
Very, very true.
But anyway, so they're already in the air, so I guess it doesn't matter. Whatever. So Coulson and Morse are approaching the football field, and Cal is in the commentator's booth, commentating and taunting Coulson. He threatens the kids who are still unconscious around the field, saying that they are simply doing what S.H.I.E.L.D. does to people that they deem dangerous. And I'm assuming he means kill them, except that S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't kill the 4 of them. So, imprison them? Is he gonna just do to these other parents exactly what S.H.I.E.L.D. did to him? No irony, of course.
Nope.
None to be found anywhere.
No self-awareness whatsoever.
Mr. Salesman over here. But Coulson points out that S.H.I.E.L.D. punishes criminals, not teenagers. Cal says that he wants to expose S.H.I.E.L.D.'s treatment of exceptional people to the world before they can do it to Sky, too. Just then, May shows up with a gun to Sky's head, of course, obviously, as you do. And she tells Cal that they've already put Sky on the index. Now they just have to make a decision to either contain her or put her down. And that decision comes down to what Cal does. Cal tries to talk to Sky and convince her to come to his side instead of Coulson's. But since Sky says nothing, he starts to hand the microphone to Angar. And I just would like to know, how is he broadcasting this that he thinks the whole town is listening to his little showdown thing? He knows that nobody listens to radio anymore, right? Also, even if I just thought about this, even if he's just over the loudspeaker, right? Maybe he's saying that this town is small enough that if you're using the loudspeaker at the football stadium at the high school, that everybody in the town is going to hear it. Does this work if what if Angar screams towards a deaf person? If they don't hear him, does it still work?
I don't know. That's an interesting thought experiment. I guess that's my favorite phrase lately. That's a good thought experiment. They say that in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. Is it an auditory thing, or is it is it just the sound waves from him are radioactive or something? And so if the sound hits your skin or something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a bodily reaction.
Yeah.
A bodily
at the Tangeroans. Let us know.
Yeah.
But anyway, but then, as he is handing the microphone to Angar, the eyeless man shows up in a force field, grabs Cal, and then they both disappear. Of course, casually. Whatever.
He was a problem.
So then Coulson and the other Index members spring into action, and the fight ensues. Coulson takes down Angar, and how did he not make a sound during that fight? Because they say even a whisper from him, but like, what about a grunt? Coulson like punches him and like throws him on the ground. Surely he didn't do like a like that didn't work.
I wonder if it was an exaggeration.
Maybe, I don't know.
He was being facetious.
He was very much exaggerating for dramatic effect, and we love that about him. So then Garner takes Skye, and they run for cover as May does her thing with Francis, and Morse takes on Carla. So Garner and Skye pause and watch May's fight, looking very concerned. As Coulson is catching up to Wendell, Skye's earthquake starts. Coulson and May both stop what they're doing and immediately start running to her. She manages to stop the shaking, but then some major bruising appears on her hands and wrists. Did she transfer the shaking to inside her own body and shatter her own bones? Holy shit, yes, that is what she did. That is fucking
You weren't
awful.
stopping your powers, you were turning them inward.
Yes.
What a good metaphor.
Good God. I need them to stop calling me out like this. Quit it. This is a great mental health episode.
It is.
Go to therapy. Learn healthy coping mechanisms and healthy boundaries and relationships. And
don't turn your emotions inward.
yes. Don't take your emotions out on anybody, including yourself.
Exactly. Yes.
So, after they let Skye know what happened when she wakes up, Simmons and Coulson are discussing in his office. Simmons proposes a new category for gifted people, enhanced, for people like David Angar and Mike Peterson, whose gifts are man-made. They're different from Skye and Reyna, whose powers were already inside of them. Coulson tells her to keep working on figuring out how Skye's powers work, and that this is the top priority, and to keep it under wraps. Why? Everybody already knows about Skye.
Maybe not everybody, I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But he said to keep it between them. I'm assuming he meant between him and Simmons, but like everybody else on the team does know. So maybe he's saying because he doesn't trust Morse and Mac right now.
Well, maybe it's like everybody else knows that Skye has powers, but I think the keep it between us is the like figuring out how they work.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Anyway, so then May escorts Garner out to his car. Garner recommends not only for Skye to leave active duty, but to leave S.H.I.E.L.D. altogether and go somewhere physically and emotionally safe. But May points out, just like I was thinking, she and I are always in the same wavelength. This S.H.I.E.L.D. team is as close to a family as Skye's got. She's not going to leave for anything. And then Garner brings up Bahrain. And was that when the cavalry nickname came about, or is that something else?
It was, yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so May asks if Garner would consider staying on as a consultant to continue helping Skye. And he says, hell no! Professionally speaking. He continues that he left S.H.I.E.L.D. for a reason, and he has even more reason now. The woman in the photo on his desk, which I believe they did mention earlier, but I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
So then we cut over to Mac, and he is bringing Hunter to another new S.H.I.E.L.D. They call themselves the Real S.H.I.E.L.D.
A lot of balls calling it the Real S.H.I.E.L.D. when the director passed the reins to Coulson, but
literally.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Just like call it something else, my dudes.
Right.
I don't know.
And they had a different logo though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated that. What the fuck?
You wait.
And now it's time for the post-content content. That was really beautiful. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Cal wakes up in a room full of destroyed furniture, and the eyeless man enters, and Cal starts yelling at him, seemingly yet again. He asks why the man didn't take Daisy too, and the man says they only took him because Cal was making too much noise. Which I think is funny because he was right next to Angar the Screamer, so.
Yeah.
But Cal tries to say, I was doing this for us. But the man just says, you are not one of us. Fucking thank you. No, he's not. Cal is shocked to have been put in his place so quickly and, like, quietly. But the man says that he's not the one who decides what happens to Cal. So Cal just quietly picks up his coat and slowly leaves the room. He is very nervous.
Executive producer Jeffrey Bell talked about the more episodic aspects of this episode, saying, "This was a different episode for us. We're pretty serialized, and every now and then you want to find a way to take a little detour that keeps the emotional life of your story going, but you want to explore other corners. And this one really does that. We're spending a lot of time with Cal in this episode and his friends. It's a really fun episode, and there's a not darker, but more of a gothic tone to it, if that makes sense."
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, for sure. The show.
I will say it's nice to see Cal, like, afraid of someone for once.
Yeah. Yep. I'm excited to see more of that.
And that he's been, like, just, like, speaking for so many people that he has no business speaking for.
Just like a man.
Just like a man. He's like, well, my wife and my daughter have these powers, so that means I'm one of you.
You married into it. That doesn't mean shit.
Bro, you're the human half. You're the human half, and nobody cares. My only other thought was, Coulson is from Wisconsin. I never would have guessed that in a million years. I don't think I've ever actually met anyone from Wisconsin, and the only thing that I do know about Wisconsin is, like, cheese and that 70s show, and that's it.
The only thing I know is Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
That
was the most random fucking place.
He does seem like a Midwestern boy.
I guess, is Wisconsin Midwestern?
Yeah. It's the Midwest.
Okay. I don't know why, but I never the states that are like at like our northern border, I never consider those to be part of the Midwest. I don't know why. Obviously I'm wrong, but in my brain they're like a different category. I don't know. Because I think of them, when I think the Midwest, I think like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. And that's kind of it.
But like I saw like a map or something that like was like what the United States considers like the Midwest, and then the South, and then like West Coast, East Coast. And like stuff that is very clearly on the East Coast is considered the South.
Yeah.
And then like the northern East Coast is like all that counts as the East Coast. And then there's the PNW, the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And then like
California is the West Coast.
There's like two blobs that are just like the Midwest and the South. And I honestly, like, I think Louisiana and Florida are like their own things. Like they're not even the South.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I would say that I'm from the South, but like I don't think I would say I'm Southern. I would say I'm Cajun.
Yeah.
But not everyone from Louisiana is Cajun.
Right. That's true.
Anyway. Yeah.
We went on lots of tangents today.
We did. We sure did.
I hope you enjoyed it, Libby.
My thoughts on this episode were, I find it was kind of like, it definitely was more episodic. It was kind of a filler episode. I didn't find myself taking as many notes. Mm-hmm. And I think because one of the things about it being more episodic is that more of it stuck in my mind, so I didn't notice more things from it. Like, it's a memorable episode, but it's, like, kind of a filler. And so, yeah, it's, like, in that weird in-between place.
For sure. Yeah, I ended up watching this over the course of, like, 3 days. And so, a lot of this, I was like, wow, that's the same episode?
Well, that concludes our episode on Season 2, Episode 13, One of Us.
Yeah.
If you want to keep up with us, you can follow us on TikTok at Agents of Nothing Podcast, on Twitter at Agent Nothing Pod, and on Instagram at Agents of Nothing Podcast. You can go to anchor.fm/Agents of Nothing and subscribe to us for $2.99 a month for special bonus content. And you can email us at agentsofnothingpodcast@gmail.com, and we may just read it on the show. If you want to find me, Mariah, I'm on Twitter at FullSwampWitch_, on TikTok at Submarine Warfare, and on Instagram at Submarine Warfare.
And you can follow me, Caroline, on Twitter at RustyPage95, on Instagram at _RustyPage, or on TikTok at CrazyGinger995.
Next week, we'll be covering Season 2, Episode 14, Love in the Time of Hydra, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye!
Bye! Love you!